Hello everyone, this is Sith Lord Lemley and welcome to my latest video. Today we'll be discussing how to learn to jungle. I will talk over some tips, some things to focus on while learning to jungle, and a few exercises to help you on your journey to becoming an effective jungler. The first step to learn to jungle is to pick a champion that you'd like to learn to jungle on. Ideally, you want to start with someone who's pretty mechanically simple so that you can focus more on the overall game and not have to worry about difficult moves. Some strong and simple junglers that are good to learn on are Warwick, Volibear, Mundo, Amumu, or Pantheon. All of these junglers have good clears, good sustain, or ability to survive in the jungle, and good ability to gank. Learning on these champions will make your experience easier and will in no way limit your gameplay. I've seen all of these junglers played very efficiently all the way up to Diamond. Now that you have your jungler that you'd like to learn on, I suggest doing some research on the jungle itself. Know what buffs each of the camps give you when you smite them, what all the jungle items do, and what the enchantments are good for. Small pieces of knowledge can go a long way in the jungle. Knowing that smiting red buff gives you a lot of health can greatly help your clears. Guides can be very helpful for knowing which jungle items and enchantments are good for your jungler, and what situations you should build each of them in. Also, knowing which runes and masteries to take is very important, and can also be found in guides. Okay, you have your jungler, you understand the jungle, and you know which items you should be building. What's next? Learning to effectively clear your jungle is a large piece of jungling. While in the jungle, experience and gold are very scarce, so you have to make every second you spend in your jungle worth it. The best thing you can do to prove at this is to have a plan while clearing your jungle. This planning starts as soon as you enter the game. Your first clear is very important because it sets the pace for the rest of the game. If you die in your first clear, it will set you behind early, and who wants to spend their entire game trying to catch up? Most junglers start on the same side as their bottom lane since they provide a better leash for you. Standard starting clears are, if on the purple side, Krugs, Red, then Razor Beaks or Wolves. If you're on the red side, then Gromp, Blue, then Red or Wolves. These are both good, but sometimes things happen, such as an invade or dropping low in health and being unable to finish your clear. You should be prepared for both of these situations since you are a good jungler and you've planned ahead. If the enemy jungler is someone who you think will be able to invade you early, such as Lee Sin, Elise, or Shaco, then you should always have a ward at your jungle entrance to see them coming. If you do spot them coming, back off and ping for your lanes to come and help you. If your team collapses, you can normally get an easy first blood or at least a flash. If your team doesn't come and help and you lose your camp, it is still better than dying. If you notice yourself getting low while clearing and you don't have enough gold to back yet and you don't think that you can take the next camp, don't worry. Go to river, and if the enemy jungler isn't around, just take the scuttle crab. Through health regen and health steal, you'll be able to get enough health to finish your clear. So you're finished with your first clear. You've bought your jungle item, and now you want to get back to clearing your jungle. Remember, your first clear isn't the only piece to effectively clearing your jungle. It's a process that lasts the whole game. Now you have to decide which camps you want to take and in what order. This is something that shouldn't be done at random and should again be a part of your plan. The main thing to consider when choosing where to go next in your jungle is, which of your lanes will benefit the most from you being near it. If your top lane is getting pushed in, and you think that you'll be able to gank soon, then heading top to take Wolves or Gromp is probably a good choice. The best way to clear effectively is to kill camps on the way to an objective instead of running straight to the objective. An example of this is, you want to gank mid lane and you are at Gromp. Mid isn't quite ready to be ganked yet though. You could either A, go and wait in the river for a good shot at a gank, or B, go clear Wolves and then head mid. As a jungler, you never want to spend time waiting in a bush when you could be clearing. However, take this with a grain of salt. If a lane is in need of immediate assistance, don't stop to clear every camp on the way there. Like everything in League of Legends, learning to clear effectively will come with time. So just try to keep it in mind while playing, but don't make it your sole focus. Ganking is another large part of being a jungler. What separates good junglers from bad junglers, however, is not the number of ganks they pull off, but the quality of the ganks that they pull off. A really great jungler will get something every single time he ganks. So how do you go about determining what looks like a good gank and what is a bad gank? Unfortunately, trial and error is the best teacher for this, but I can give you a quick checklist of things to consider before trying to gank. First thing to consider is, what is your status? Do you have enough health and mana to gank the lane? What level are you compared to who you're ganking? Do you have enough items to be able to fight the person in lane? Remember, gold and experience are scarce in the jungle, so chances are you will be behind the person you're going to fight. However, you do have one large advantage, your friendly laner. After carefully looking over your own situation, do the same check for all the other players in the lane that you're ganking. If your teammate has no health or mana to help you on your gank, then you could be running into a 1v1 against a much stronger opponent. If the enemy has 3 levels and is a full item ahead, then they may be strong enough to fight both of you. It's never fun to come in for a gank just to be blown up because you didn't realize the enemy Lux was 5-0. Remember, if you're way behind, it is better to spend your time farming up and becoming stronger instead of continuing to gank. So let's pretend that you and the lane are both in good shape for a gank. Next thing to consider is the position of the champions and of the wave. If the enemy is close to their tower, it is going to be very difficult to get to them before they get back to safety. The champions involved also play a large role in this. If they have a large jump or dash, you're going to either need to wait until it's on cooldown, or you're going to need more room to gank them. However, if your teammate has a way to lock them in place, you may only need a small amount of space. Minion wave size and position should also be considered. If the enemy has a very large wave that they're sitting in, then ganking them will be a lot harder, because the minions will turn and attack you once you begin fighting. Minion damage, especially early in the game, shouldn't be underestimated. One exercise to help you recognize good ganks is to watch a video of a pro play the jungle. Look at the state of each of the lanes when they go to gank. If they happen to die during any of the ganks, rewind and see why this happened. The final thing to consider before ganking is, what is your goal of the gank? Are you trying to get your Riven further ahead? Do you want to relieve pressure on your lane? Do you want to force it back so that you can either take a tower or dragon? Remember, kills are only one step in the direction to reaching an objective. Who cares if you get 20 kills and still lose? A loss is still a loss, so larger objectives should always be your focus. If you get 20 kills ganking the same lane, but let the enemy destroy your inhibitor on the opposite side of the map while you're repeatedly ganking, they are going to come off better in the long run. Remember, your goals should always get you closer to destroying their nexus. So you now know how you should be clearing and how to recognize good gank opportunities. Now what you have to learn is how to find a good balance between the two. Anything done in excess can be a bad thing. If you spend all your time ganking, you won't be able to farm effectively, and in turn will fall behind in levels, making it harder to gank. If you farm too much, your lanes will fall behind because you aren't ganking enough. So even though you're strong, the enemy might be stronger, also making it harder to gank. This balance can also change based on the champion you're playing. Lee Sin, for example, can gank heavily early without a lot of farm, while Warwick is much more effective if he spends some time farming at the start. If you find yourself losing games and you're not sure why, watch your replays and this is normally the culprit. If your lanes are constantly losing, then maybe you're farming too much. If you're constantly 2 levels behind the enemy jungler, you may be ganking too much. It is very hard to recognize in-game when you miss these opportunities, but as long as you're actively working on improving, you will learn these things with time. So at this point, you may be feeling a little overwhelmed, but don't worry. If you were able to focus on all these principles at the same time, you'd be some sort of superhuman. Realistically, you can only focus on so many new things each game, so the best way to improve is to just continue to queue up. As you're starting out in the jungle, focus on one piece of your game at a time, and as you master them, you can begin putting the pieces together, and then continuing to work on each piece as needed. So let's review the main points of this video. To learn to jungle, you should select a champion you wish to learn on, research jungle camps and items, learn to plan your jungle clears effectively, learn to recognize good gank opportunities, and finally, learn to balance ganking and farming. If you can master all these things, then you will be on your way to becoming a very good jungler. Remember, this video's focus was learning to jungle at a very high level. There are a lot of small things that you can do to do each of these things more effectively, but I highly recommend learning the basics first. Once you feel that you have the basics down, then I would suggest looking into more specific videos for high levels of detail about a portion of your game. Hey guys, thank you for watching my video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more League of Legends content. Catch me streaming over at twitch.tv/SithLordLemley. Stream times are posted on my Twitch profile. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video.